Ireland and Italy, folks, 33 points to 17. It's a kind of expected Irish win. Had its moments for both sides, and yeah, a bit of rust shaking off both ways. We'll go through some key events and stats, and you guys can let us know your thoughts on the game. The sun has come up here in New Zealand, unlike the last two games, which were on in the middle of the night. This one was on, I guess, later over in your neck of the woods if you're in Dublin going to the game. But yeah, perfect time for me in New Zealand. But yeah, Italy get themselves in front early. I don't think many of us saw that coming, but it's always good when the big old underdog manages to kind of buck the trend, and it's almost straight from the kickoff as well. They had probably not quite the perfect start, but among the best starts that they could have wanted when Conan's initial carry from the kickoff bit upright. The Italian defenders hold him up, and it's a maul turnover, which leads to a scrum. The scrum is an Italian scrum penalty, and Kilcoyne gets pinged, and bam, 3-0 to the Italians. Who saw that coming? But yeah, the Italians pay the price because Riccione not long later has to go off with seemingly a bit of a leg injury. So hopefully he's all right because he's going to be one of their key mans going into the World Cup in what is a pretty tough pool. But it didn't take long for the Irish pressure machine to start, squeezing the Italian defenders. I mean, Ogdogwu misses an aerial ball, which leads to a bit of Irish possession inside Italy's 22. And you can feel the try is coming. Kilcoyne's the guy who finishes it off from very close range. He's got Doris and Conan basically just shoving him over the line, but he gets there, and yeah, it's 7 points to 3. Ireland are in front. They're not going to surrender that lead. And it gets worse for Italy because Garbisi mucks up the restart and kicks it out on the full. And then, yeah, it's all Ireland for quite some time in this first half. I feel like Ireland, they go into the sheds with like a 21-3 lead at halftime, but they probably could have had more. Jimmy O'Brien put in a great kick just outside the Italian in-goal area, so the pressure's on. Ireland, though, they conceded Italy had to exit, and it was just outside the 22, but Ireland conceded an obstruction penalty at line-out time, which was a little bit of a let-off, because otherwise, they were stuck down the road end having to defend for large periods, so that's one that the Irish conceded a couple of in this game, which they'll certainly be wanting to work on between now and the World Cup. 20 minutes, a goal line dropout when Jimmy O'Brien goes close. Stockdale, great aerial ball win. Sent the Irish guys close, but not quite any points. Fischetti's offside when Casey's trying to go quickly. Tackles the man. He can't help himself. He sees number 9 coming towards him. He's a big prop. Wants to smash him. He's not back to 10. Yellow card for him. And it immediately leads to points for Ireland. They kick it out. They go for a line out. It's a maul. And the power just sees Caelan Doris straight through. And all of a sudden, it's 14-3. And as I said, it had been coming as well. Italy have been doing a lot of defending. And credit to them for only being 14 points down because they are under a lot of pressure. And you can feel like the Irish hands are getting a little bit better as well. They're getting slightly more slick as the game goes on. 36 minutes, Italy failed to exit their own 22 when they have been camped on there for a long time. Doris smashes into Varney. Ireland turn the ball over, and McCloskey is able to just kind of pick and go from the back of that ruck. He is essentially like another loose forward. 21-3. It's a couple of tries during the yellow. And then there's one last scrum penalty for Italy, actually. They had one last chance before halftime. But as they kicked it out for touch, Ryan Baird managed to pinch the ball in the air. So 21-3. Yeah, it's a pretty lopsided scoreline. You're looking at 42-6 if you double that for the second half, right? So I will say credit to the Italians for getting better value out of the second half anyway. First half stats are insane. 67% Irish possession, 76% Irish territory. They've had 94 carries. Now, for context, France, in their game against Scotland, in the entire match, had 99. So 94 carries in one game, and we know Ireland likes that kind of quick recycle ball. That's their thing. But Italy was doing a lot of defending. 21 points being conceded is maybe actually not that bad. Second half, Italy still under a lot of pressure. Both sides have had to make a few subs. I forgot to mention that Dogwood went off. Conan went off. Casey, I think, lasted half the game. Jimmy O'Brien lasts half the game. As I mentioned, Riccione has already gone off. A lot of these guys had to go off. Some of those will be precautionary. Hopefully nothing too serious either way, because we want the best players going to the World Cup, obviously. But yeah, another Irish obstruction penalty at the line-up time to start the second half is not ideal. And then Italy. First points on the board in the second half. I don't want to say against the run of play, but yeah, it was a good try. What can you say? A maul on the left, quick ball to the right, Garbisi to Allen. I guess it's one of the pluses of playing two guys who can kind of play 10. Two genuine distributors. I mean, Pani, the pass to him is not the cleanest, but he gets it. Goes for the corner. Stockdale should probably do better on defence, but he cannot. And yeah, Pani gets his first ever test try in his second game. So not bad, man. 21-10. 21-10's like, that's not that much of a lead when you consider those first half stats were so lopsided. Although Ireland, I mean, again, once they're under the pump a little bit, once they've conceded points, they find another get out there. The scrum starts taking it up a notch. They're again going for the maul. Like, Ireland weren't kicking any penalties in this game. We've seen some sides in these warm-up games treating it like proper tests and opting for threes, but Ireland, I don't want to say they're not treating it like a proper test, but you know what I mean. They're trying to get more value from the round the park stuff, especially when they've got that more than a score lead. They go for a maul, but Italy's defence holds and turns them over, but then Tyke Byrne comes on. What's one of the first thing he does? Gets a jackal from the Italian guys when they've got the ball. It's a bit of handbags, so there's still a bit of feeling in the game. I mean, it's still 21-10, but then Ireland do get things back going on 65 minutes when Cian Healy's able to get a try to add to his collection. I don't know how many international tries he's got, but you know, he can get them every now and again. A bunch of phases after a maul. You know, Healy goes over from close range, so 26-10, a missed conversion, but back to a three-score lead. Ireland, though, again, under pressure from the restart. So this is one of those things like the line-out, having a couple of issues with obstruction. This is one of the things they'll want to work on, because from the kickoff in the first half and from this restart, from that try, like, not great. They're under a heap of pressure. They go offside, and then it's Italy's turn for a 5-metre maul. They do maul it. They go through some phases, and eventually Menoncello is able to go over. Keith Earls maybe should do better on defence with there as well, but I mean, Menoncello, he's a dangerous guy, and 26-17. So 26-17 still not looking like the kind of, what were the bookies picking, like 40-odd points? It's not looking quite that much, but Ireland are still going to have the last say. Caelan Doris is going to get his second try of the game, and there's a lot of good build-up for that one for Ireland. Like, some key guys like Prendergast had a good carry and offload for that one. I mean, he'll benefit from those minutes. Nash went close. Healy tried like a sidestep. Still managed to get tackled. I guess he wanted a second try. And then Doris from kind of a bounce pass. So 33-17. That's the final score of the match. For all he kicks the conversion. So first international points for him. But yeah, the game still goes on. There's still a wee bit of time. Menoncello, sadly for him, looks to pick up what seems like a more serious injury, because he's holding his arm and clearly very upset. So fingers crossed it's not as bad as he initially thinks. But yeah, Ireland concede a few more penalties at the death. They get a little bit of a warning for discipline. Italy doing a couple of tap and goes, but then Stewart, he's come on and he rips the ball off Rutzer. Italy knock it on for full time. So yeah, it's one of those ones where Ireland win really convincingly, 33-17, and have one of the most convincing halves of rugby in that first half. But I don't know, it wasn't the bloodbath maybe that some people were making it out that it was going to be. So yeah, a little bit worrying for the guys who picked up knocks, but we'll kind of wait and see how that goes. Final match stats, run meters 556 to 281, so Ireland absolutely dominant. The possession stats, though, even out a wee bit, 56-44 come full time, so Italy actually had more possession, 54% in that second half. Territory, though, 65-35, shows Ireland's playing in the right end of the field. Penalties conceded 13-10, so that's one area that Ireland will maybe want to fix up a little bit for their next game, getting the discipline slightly better. But man, they tackled like demons, 93%. They're a hard team to break down. They made 112 tackles. Italy at 92%. You may not think it, but based on how many tries they conceded, but 205 tackles. Goodness me. I mean, you still missed like almost 20. But in the scheme of things, they made a ton. And like the McCloskey try is a bit of a soft one from an Italian point of view. And maybe even the Doris one at the end when, I don't know, it was just kind of a bounce pass. But anyway, for Italy, they defended for large periods. Other sides probably would have conceded more points. So got to give them credit for the defence. Stockdale, despite that kind of missed tackle on old Pani, 169 metres, 2 clean breaks, 2 defenders beaten. He was trying to get involved. He made a lot of carries, coming off his wing a lot. Don't know if he gets to the World Cup squad or not, because you guys are pretty stock full of wingers. But Caelan Doris, man of the match, 13 carries, 11 from 11 tackles from him. He's probably not going to get Josh van der Fleer's jersey just yet, but still bagged a couple of tries, so not a bad effort. Zuliani makes 17 from 19 tackles. Pani comes off the bench for Odogo early and gets 64 metres, 2 clean breaks, defender beaten in his first ever test try. Menicello makes 15 from 16. So yeah, interesting one. Both sides have got a week off now before Ireland take on England and Italy take on Romania. So yeah, like I said, it's a bit of a weird one. Like, Ireland do it comfortably enough. Both sides at times, did some stuff that they'll look back on and go, that stuff to fix before the World Cup. But I think both sides will certainly be happy with aspects of the game and certainly some work-ons. But yeah, you guys let us know your thoughts, and we look forward to watching some more rugby. I'm going to sit down and watch the South Africans play the Argentinians now, because that game was at the same time. But anyway, you guys let us know your thoughts, and till you get soon. See you later.